Hi, and welcome to Grandad's Used Bike Guide. Today we're going to go over what to look for when you're buying a bike, or even when you're selling one. A couple of rules that I find important. So to start with, I'm having trouble with the tender for the battery. I must track that down on the bullet, but start at the bottom. Kind of make a list in your head and kind of don't be rushed into any decisions or anything. Now, you see the tread on that tyre is perfect. There's no cracks in the side. Well, there's even little knobs still. That tyre is 7 years old. So, check the tyres. Not only the condition of them, there's a date on all the tyres. Check that. Then you move chain and sprockets, if it's got chain and sprockets, or if it's a shaft drive, doesn't really matter, but check the chain and sprockets. Not only that they're lubed in their intention, but the sprockets aren't toothed or anything. Then engine, especially when cold. If the bike is warm, there's different reasons people warm the bike. The Honda is water cooled or liquid cooled, and it takes an age to heat up. To be honest with you, it runs badly until it's heated. I was going to strip the carbs, but it's not to do with the carburetors. It's just the engine is cold. It needs to choke. On fuel injected bikes, you won't need that. So check it's cold. Check the exhaust. Not any condition, but any obvious signs of repair or leaks, or then check all the engine covers, casings. Make sure under the bike there's no oil leaks, no drips. And like I say, you want the bike to be cold. Now, alright, in some cases you can't have that, because I don't really recommend meeting people in garages or anything, but if you have to, then that's what needs must, I suppose. General condition of the bike, the bodywork. Now, it's not so prevalent on new bikes, but if you're buying an older bike, bodywork can be very hard to source. So, if you're buying something, make sure it's as complete as you possibly afford. Then lights, indicators, brake light, horn, check everything. Check, like most bikes nowadays come with the lights turned on all the time, so, but just check they're on, check they all work together. You don't want some fault like I've seen crappy wiring where the brake light flashes when you turn on the indicators. So, check all that. Condition, seat. You have to decide what you want. Do you want something dead standard, or do you want something a small bit personalised or customised? I don't recommend buying bikes where the frame has been chopped. It's just, I don't. That's my personal preference, so I couldn't recommend it. They always say bring a friend or a knowledgeable person, but to be honest, how many knowledgeable people do you really know? I know, and it says it stops you from buying with your heart or rushing into decisions, but someone that doesn't really know what they're doing, which is just as bad as not having anyone at all. Yeah, that's my little shelving unit that I won't be buying again. If anyone wants it, it's there. Wasted €25. Now, brakes, discs, check for lines, grooves, wear. You can check, most time you can see the pads, so check for pads. And service history is a funny one, because there's none with this I serviced, and there's the Interceptor. Since it went out of warranty, I've serviced myself. But if you can, check the sump plug, check around nuts and bolts in general. They're not rounded or seized up or anything. I know bikes that fellas use a bit too much force and pull head bolts out and everything, so check that. Now, it's a hard one for me. I know it probably doesn't even look it, but I spent €5,000 nearly on extras on this. Some things are in the shed below that I put on and didn't like. Other things I kept. Does it make it worth €5,000 more? No. What does it do for it? It makes it a bit more sellable. That's about it. There's no, like, if I was selling this, it would probably be, the Interceptor would probably be around the £6,000 mark. I know that seems a lot for the people in England, but they're 10 new. So, yeah, do your research as well. And make sure you're insured to take it for a test ride. Check the forks. Always pull up the gaiters. I'm not going to do it there now because they're stuck in very well, but I've checked them before. Check if there's gaiters on it. Pull up the gaiters. Check the fork. Check the fork legs for any drips or damage. Or I know it's not a huge job to do fork seals, but it's a labour-intensive job, and you will need a fork seal tool. Again, cosmetic damage, if you're willing to accept it, yes. If you're not, no. Parts, like research and then research again. Parts availability. Now everyone knows that the Enfields are well catered for by Hitchcocks in England. Hondas are well catered for. So unless you're buying something really obscure, there should be no problem with parts, but then just check anyhow. If you're buying an older bike with 6-volt electrics, I remember plenty of dodgy ones, bad arse, and we used to stick a 12-volt bulb in the back to stop it from blowing. So again, check over the electrics. Has the bike been sitting a while? Are the tyres square? Are they flat? And if you are taking the test drive, be prepared to leave a decent sized deposit. If you're selling a bike and they want the test drive, if they're genuine, there should be no problem leaving the deposit with you. Don't take their motorbike as a deposit, because that could have been the last one they just took for a test drive and never brought it back. On spoke wheels, check the spokes, make sure they're tensioned properly, broken spokes, and it's not just a simple case of tearing out a spoke and putting another one in. It has to be done properly. This is the one that catches me the most, annoys me the most really. I've no logbook. It's in the post. The last owner logbook is the V5 or the title. The last owner didn't send it. It's only €25 to buy a new one. Yeah, then buy a new one and sell the bike with a logbook. Don't take any excuse not to have a logbook. It can be hell to get a logbook, especially if the bike has been imported. And if it is imported, you'll have to go to the NCT centre for your car tests. We don't have an NCT in Ireland for a bike. We don't have any MOT or anything. So you have to go to the NCT centre and give them your bank details, which I'm totally against. Now, if you're buying for an investment, you're buying the wrong thing, I think. Take a look of motorbikes past and present and stuff like gold stars and bruffs, and get an idea what the bike is worth. The best place is any live auctions. Well, if it's an auction, you have to add 10% to it, and so that you'll know what the bike is selling for at least. Like I say, unless you're going for a broth or something, it should be fairly easy to find it on eBay or your local Facebook page or whatever it is. I don't use it myself, but so just make sure the bike is in a good overall condition. People go on about make sure the garage is tidy and the driveways. That doesn't really. My driveway is a bit mossy because it's been over winter, and I'll be power washing it shortly. But I would not buy a bike because the driveway is a bit freaking mossy. There's no point in doing it in the middle of winter, so it'll be. And then, of course, I've came across this a lot. Be honest with what you can do as regards to repairing a bike. If you don't have the facility to do it, if you don't have the know-how, and if you don't have the place to do it, sitting out in your driveway in the pouring rain isn't fun when your bike won't start. And then you have to rip out a load of spanners, and so I'm not saying don't buy it if you don't have a garage. What I'm just saying is be prepared to have to work on it in inclement conditions, and be honest with what you can and can't do. I know people that can rip a head off a bike in 10 minutes and replace all the valves in half an hour, and whereas it would take me probably 2 days to do the same job. Of course you won't know until you try, but just try and be honest with yourself, because you're not the only person you're going to fool is yourself. You need to know what you can and can't do. Now, another thing that's virtually on every listing I see for needs the carbs cleaned out. Now, again, the two Enfields are fuel injected, the Honda is carbureted. If it just needs the carbs cleaned out, then clean out the carbs before you sell it. That's like, it just needs, it's due a service, then service it before you sell it. These things really, they annoy me, because they're supposedly just simple jobs. Then why isn't it done? What else hasn't been done? So, and I suppose the main thing about it all is enjoy the prospect. Or what I meant to say as well is, an often overlooked place is under the tank. This is where you can get rust and deposits, and if the bike, don't buy a polished pig just because the bike looks well on the engine cases or the paint marks. Check deep, or make sure everything's okay with it, and like I say, enjoy it. There's a lot to enjoy about it, but there's a lot of pitfalls as well. Not every seller is going out to try and catch you, but there are a few, and you come across the wrong one, it'll make the experience really bad. So, thanks. Ride your own ride. Grandad's Bike Guide.